Alrighty, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 8th of 2025 here, and we're going to jump back and take a look at what happened yesterday. Good morning, Neil. We're going to take a look here at what happened. Now, when we came in yesterday, we were smack dab in the middle of our bullish and bearish bias, right? So one of the key things we wanted to see on any type of pullback yesterday, because we did talk about maybe the market pulling back, but still staying in a overall bullish market from a higher time frame perspective. And we said we want to see the bulls, if we do get some type of pullback today, we want to see them defend 50% of the week before. That was about as far as we wanted to get it. And then I told you probably the last area I want to see defended was this S&R at 59.38 quarter. Mostly because we had this structure, and I can't zoom all the way back, but we had an area in the chart here where there was a whole lot of volatility. I don't know what you call it, like an order block or whatever it is in this area. And then we kind of came up and then we bounced right out of there. So as we came into this area, I warned you guys that that would be as far as I'd like to see the bears get, and then see the bulls jump back in for me to continue to have a higher time frame bias for the bulls, right? So, and I told you it could go either way. We're right in the middle. If we go to the higher time frames and see what they were saying, we were, if you look from the all-time high where we had all these bearish signs on the monthly time frame, the quarterly time frame, the weekly time frame, and then down here where we got the big major bounce, we had a lot of counter signals on the weekly time frame, the daily time frame, telling us there was most likely going to be a bounce. We got that bounce, right? And then it's just been kind of a battle back and forth. Well, when we came into the open yesterday, I think it was up around this high over here. Like I said, we were just about 50% between the major high and the major low where we had conflicting signals. So we needed to see the bulls defend at least from 50% of the previous week yesterday. And the 50% of the previous week down there at 59.55. And sure enough, they just went ahead and sold off right through it as we went through the rest of the day. So let's look at some of the details here. I was very, very annoyed yesterday right out of the open because I put a short at my roadmap level here at 60.46. And they came to 60.45 half. And then that was the high of the freaking day. So I didn't get filled on my short right out of the open. And I was 2 ticks off from getting filled. And then from there, we never came back. This sold off like, what was it? From 45 half all the way down to 59.35. We sold off over 100 points from there. And this is just a beautiful example of getting in on a trade. Well, I just missed it. But if I would have been filled, getting in on a trade where I basically would have had no risk. And then the trade went 100 points in my favor by the end of the day, right? So there's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. Unfortunately, I missed that. And then on the pullback here, we get a textbook bounce right off of the VWAP, right? So first they bounce off 200, but it was a tick in front. Failed off FMA with a bearish divergence. There was actually another short opportunity there. A double top, big bearish divergence. We were testing the FMA and then pulled back right to VWAP. So a great opportunity to short 37 and take it off at about 30 there for a nice 7-point win. And then we get the textbook bounce with a nice bullish divergence off the VWAP. So a nice long opportunity. But the overall theme here is they could not continue to go. And this right here is where I actually was able to get in, where we made this double top, or I think we might have been off by 1 tick in terms of a perfect test there. But we were pulling back off the first roadmap level. We got this double top, which was right around, I would call it that 61.8 retrace area, right? So kind of balanced out. Then when it came up and retested that high and I saw this divergence, it was kind of like, okay, thanks. That's very, very clear, at least for me. Let's go back to that candle as it started to pull back. That was super, super clear to me, right? So there was a great opportunity to get short, and then it never came back, I don't think. So I missed out on the ultimate high of the day, but then this double top and failure was able to get in and get a pretty nice trade to start the day off. On the way down, now here's the thing. The market was super, super heavy for the bears. So hopefully, you weren't trying to buy as this thing started to get super heavy. As you can see, this just was like a straight line down, never even bounced to the fast moving average. And you did get a fade opportunity as it started to fail through the 200 and everything, as it came up to kiss the first roadmap level and fell from there and come up to kiss the back end of the previous daily close. This right here actually was another great opportunity I did not take, where we came down, and as it was pushing right into the previous daily close, there was this huge divergence starting to show up as we were pushing into it. So there was a good opportunity, and if you look, the swing of the morning, the low there, was just one tick above it. So that, to me, would have been a great opportunity. Again, no risk on that trade, and you should have been able to get a quick 20, 30-point push within a couple minutes there. And then on the way down here, I do think that this would have been a great, great, great opportunity. Either the first test of our level, right, because it was the fast moving average and the level, or the second high that we made when it came up and gave us this nice bearish divergence. That right there looked beautiful, but as you can see, we got a bullish counter signal from the low here and then bounced right through. So unfortunately, they probably took those stops out, and then they just went exactly where you guys wanted to take it, right to the new lows. So that's common sometimes. Sometimes it's going to hold these levels perfectly, and then once in a while they come up and they do a stop hunt, and then they keep going. Now, if you were ambitious enough to try to keep getting in here, you had the plays off the fast moving average the whole way down, right? So that was kind of like a little hiccup in the market, and then bam, all these tests of the fast moving average the whole way down worked out great. Beautiful test there with a bearish divergence. So lots of great opportunities to get in short on this whole push lower. We get a big bounce. Unfortunately, we didn't come right into the roadmap level, but pretty close, and then failed right off the back end of the major level here, right? There was even a fade opportunity off the back end of the 200 here with a, now there was no bearish divergence, but there was a test and a pullback to the FMA, a beautiful scalp opportunity for 4 points. A nice 4-point push, hopefully taking profit there in case the expected was going to happen. And another thing that should have, if you were short from here, and I'm trying to kind of teach you guys stuff here, how I'm thinking, if I'm short from there and I see that, a big bullish divergence off of the fast moving average, which is a kind of a long signal, I'm already thinking that this is most likely going to come back up and either test the high, come into the roadmap level and fail, or come right through it. So it should have been a sign I should take some profit. If 4 points is a pretty good trade, and then it popped through, unfortunately, and then there was a nice bullish divergence, or I'm sorry, no, there wasn't, but there was a nice bounce right off the 200 to push up into this level, right? And then it failed, came on down, we got down through the low of the day before, held that with a bearish divergence for a fade that would have given you another 6, 7, 8, or I'm sorry, 10 points down to the next expected support. And then that low that led to this big bounce going into the lunch hour over here was right off our level here with a beautiful bullish divergence. So another great opportunity to kind of counter that bearish trend and see if we get the bounce with limited risk. And if you did, you got yourself a nice 30-point bounce within a couple minutes. It was a pretty quick moving market yesterday. And then there's the hold to the tick off the level, right? And then we go ahead and try to push lower, only to come down and hold the back end of the previous daily low here. Notice that became a very important rotational area in the chart where we held to the back end. We got through it, held it to the top end, held it to the top end, and then got below it and held it to the back end once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And they came down not to an official roadmap level, but a level I knew had importance in the chart at 59.62.5. And sure enough, they bounced right to the tick off of it with a bullish divergence for the next bounce, right? And then I'll speed this up a little bit. Then we get the continuation. So you can see the stair step. It's holding the first roadmap level. It's holding the second roadmap level. It's holding the next roadmap level in this series, and then continues to sell off going into the end of the day here, where you got beautiful opportunities. This right here, my friends, as we're starting to continue to fail in the direction of the move, Beautiful bearish divergence to the tick off the 200 or even on that first test right there. Both of them, again, maybe a tick of risk, 2 ticks of risk. You got yourself another 20, 30 points to the downside. And on the way down here, you can see your fast moving average is your best friend holding the back end of all these, every single test, bringing us all the way down to the low of the day where we bounce just within a couple, maybe a point or two of the next roadmap level. And then that's how the day petered out. We came up, we failed off the next roadmap level almost perfectly. And then as you can see, came right up into 50% of the day before, pulled back off there, and then petered out here, came right up at the end of the day to fail 1 tick in front of that roadmap level. So many beautiful opportunities yesterday to get in, basically take on 2 or 3 ticks of risk max and capture these beautiful 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 point pushes in the market. And if you were lucky enough to get short somewhere out of the open here, you got yourself a 100-point sell-off with no risk. So pretty awesome stuff. That brings us here into the overnight session here, where we've had some pretty good little rotations throughout the night. So we opened, and again, this is another instance where we open into Globex and hold the roadmap level within a point or two and balance out to only to fail off the next roadmap level with a nice big bearish divergence off that high. So great short opportunity last night off the next major roadmap level. And then on the pullback here, unfortunately, we didn't have a nice hold off VWAP. It held off of the 200, the last major swing from the night before there, and our roadmap level of 59.5, right? So if you got in, should have been able to get in with limited risk and capture the bounce last night from that area. Now, we failed. Notice what happened. We couldn't get through the roadmap level, couldn't get through the roadmap level, couldn't get through it. Then we get up through it, pull back, and bounce to the tick off of it, only to get a peak above, a big bearish divergence from up there, right? Huge bearish divergence from up there. And then bam, huge fade opportunity. Now, I got to the charts this morning right here. And so I quite literally opened the chart. The charts loaded up, NinjaTrader loaded up. We had literally just peaked into the 200 here. It was just before 7 a.m. And it was quite literally looked just like that. I put my order in here at 55 and basically went and got ready and did my stuff in the morning, came back to a nice winning trade from 55 all the way down. It ended up selling from 55 almost to 25 for 30 points. So I got a full winning trade and sitting pretty now as we get into the open here, but beautiful, beautiful bearish divergence right off of the 200, the previous daily close, the 50% level. Beautiful formation. I got here when that candle closed, and I just went ahead and said, I'm hitting this. Screw it. Very limited risk. I might be wrong by 2 or 3 points, but I could grab a nice sell-off right back to 38. All right, so great opportunity there. As you can see in the overnight, once we failed back down through the high of the overnight session, as it were, we came up and tested the back end of the FMA there and the previous daily close for a fade that brought you right to our next roadmap level, where we then got the counter signal for the bulls for the bounce back up. And then here's where I got in myself short. And now here we are back up now. So if I was hanging on to any runners in this case, it would have came back or it would have stopped me somewhere where I trailed my stop, right? So it has come all the way back, but a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. And where did they bounce? What do you know? A tick or two in front of the roadmap level. This is a major support area in the market, right? So now on the way up, and I'm taking a really long time here, but it is what it is. On the way up now, we've pushed right back up to the back end of VWAP here and our roadmap level for a beautiful fade opportunity. Held the roadmap level for the bounce, held the FMA on the way up, and now we're failing right back off 59.75 with bearish divergence on these little highs. So great opportunities in the overnight, and then even a little bit earlier here, noticing the pullback right into the 200 moving average with a bullish divergence on that second low. Even on the first low, had a big bullish divergence there. Pretty decent little low risk opportunity. Again, not more than about 2.5 points of risk. and you could have got yourself a nice 10-point push. So that concludes our review. Let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames now and see what they have to say for this morning.